Hello my dear sewing friends, it's Alisa here, and today we're going to be working on another super cute, super useful, quick and easy project. Now I would say that it comes together probably in about 10 to 30 minutes depending on your pace of sewing, and because it has multiple parts to it, it's really great for using up those smaller fabric scraps that you might have. I make these little bags with interfaced bottom for a little bit of extra stability and with 3 little pockets on the inside so that way it has more functionality. For these kind of projects, I really like using either quilting cotton or craft cotton, so nothing super special, but it really works well. And that's what I'm going to be using today. And to get started, we will need to cut 5 simple rectangles. You can see these measurements on your screens right now, so if needed, you can always pause it, maybe even screenshot it, so that way you have these measurements for when you're ready to start on your project. And I also wanted to mention that I do find it really fun and interesting if you combine 2 different colors or 2 different prints in one little bag. I just think that it adds a little bit of interest, but you can of course just make it in one solid color. It's totally up to you. The first step for me would be to take the largest rectangle, which is also going to be at the bottom, and fuse it to an interfacing. Once done, let's put it aside and grab the little piece for the pocket, because now we're going to finish the edge. To do this, I like to place the rectangle wrong side up, and we're going to be working with the upper edge. Let's fold it in once, about 1/4 inch, and another time also about 1/4 inch. Give it a really good press. And before heading to the sewing machine, let's take another 5 by 10 rectangle and finish it as well, so that way we don't have to return to the pressing table or to the sewing machine. Here, instead of working with the upper edge, we're going to be working with the shorter edges, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. Fold it in 1/4 inch once, give it a good press. Once done, fold it in another 1/4 inch and another good press. And we're going to repeat that on both sides. At the sewing machine, we're going to secure it with a straight stitch, starting and ending with a back stitch. Now these are our finished pieces. We're going to put the pocket piece aside, and we're going to take this piece, fold it in half, give it a good finger press, and cut along this crease. Now let's take our big rectangle and the 2 6 by 10s. We're going to place one like so and pin it, and the other one on the other side and pin it. Now this is what we're going to have so far. Now let's close it back up. Flip this interfacing side up, take the pocket piece and place it right side down facing the interfacing on any of the sides that we have pinned. So it doesn't really matter which one, just pick whichever one you like better. Place it like so, flip it back and repin it, so that way now you will have a sandwich consisting of 3 pieces of fabric. After this, let's head to the sewing machine and sew the pinned sides with 3/8 inch seam allowance with a straight stitch. Once done, the next step for us is to finish the raw edges of the fabric. And you can do that multiple ways. You can do that on a sewing machine by using a zigzag stitch, tightly spaced, or an overcast stitch, or you can do that on a serger if you have one. Here I wanted to give you a quick tip. Now I personally don't mind interfacing showing in a craft project like this one because it's only inside, you don't really see it from the outside, and I personally, as I mentioned, don't mind. But if you do, you can cut another 10 by 10 square and sandwich the interfacing between the 2, so that way it doesn't show. So you can definitely modify this project so that way it suits your needs and your preferences. After finishing the raw edges, I'm going to give it a good press. So we have 2 sides. One side that has just one piece, so we're going to fold it out like so. and give it a good press. The other side has two pieces. We have the pocket piece and we have a bigger piece. So fold them out like so and give them a good press as well. Now on the side it has a little pocket to it. What we're going to do is we will measure it and then equally divide it in 3 parts and draw straight lines up. Here I'm using heat erasable pen, so definitely use a marking tool that will either disappear or wash out. Using a straight stitch, I'm going to sew over the lines that we just marked. While we're at the sewing machine, we're going to top stitch these seams, the connection between the pink fabric and the gray fabric. This seam is currently pressed up, so the seam allowance is up, and we're going to top stitch right over here. I usually do it about 1/4 inch away. I'm going to do that on both sides, on the side without the pocket and on the side with the pocket. Next, I'm going to grab the 2 remaining pattern pieces and fold them in half wrong sides together, and I will center them on top of the pink pattern pieces just like you see me do on your screens. After that, pin them in place and we're going to stitch them down with 3/8 inch seam allowance with a straight stitch and then finish the raw edges. Alright, we're close to the finish line. Take these 2 little pieces and then bring them together, right sides facing. Make sure that these seam allowances are folded down. You can give them a quick finger press if needed. Then align everything else and pin one side first and then the other side. If you want to place a little label in a side seam, this is your time to do so. And if you are looking for good labels and a little discount, then I will leave my affiliate link in a place where I like them, where I trust to get my labels from, in a description for you. Now we're going to stitch it down with 3/8 inch seam allowance with a straight stitch first, and then we're going to finish the raw edges. To form the corners, grab your marking tool, and first we're going to mark the crease of the bottom. Then I find it easier if you place your hand inside and sort of collapse the corner and bring it flat. But here you want to make sure that the stitching line of the straight stitch aligns with this line that we have marked on the crease. So with your fingers, feel it and make sure that it aligns. And once it does, pin it so that way it stays in place. Next, from the very top of the stitching line, I want to measure about 1 inch and 3/4. Once you have that, make a little mark and then a straight line going from top over here all the way to the bottom. That's where we're going to stitch with a straight stitch, and we're going to repeat the same steps and the same measurements on the other side. As you do this, you might want to increase your stitch length on the sewing machine because we are sewing through quite a few layers plus interfacing. Now we can simply turn this right side out, and I personally don't snip off the corners, but if you want you can snip them off and then of course finish the raw edges. And once we have turned it right side out, you can leave it as is, but I prefer to do one extra step, and that is to do a little bit of top stitching on the very top of the bag. I'm going to make sure that all of the seam allowances of the top are pointing downwards and give it a good press on both sides. At the sewing machine, I'm going to top stitch about 1/4 inch away, the same way as we did right over here. When it comes to the ties, you can use a variety of different things, and here I have a couple of examples for you. You can make your own ties, or perhaps you can use store-bought bias tape to turn into a tie. That's option number 1. Option number 2, which I like very, very much, is using twill tape. By the way, you can get it in a variety of different colors, so that's option number 2. And option number 3, you can use a rope. There's another option. You can also use a really beautiful ribbon. So whatever you have, whatever would do the function, can definitely be used in order to thread through those little casings and create your little drawstring bag. You will need to cut 2 pieces of your ties, in my case rope. Each one will be about 28 inches long. First, you're going to insert it like this, creating a loop on one end and 2 open ends on the other side. Then you're going to insert it exactly the same way, but in the opposite direction. The very final step is to tie these ends in the knots, and ta-da! Your little drawstring bag with a box bottom that is interfaced and 3 little pockets on the inside is done and ready to be used. I truly hope that this project gave you not only plenty of ideas to sew something for yourself, but perhaps for your loved ones as gifts as well. And if you want to see more inspiration, then click on the video right over here. The first straight stitch secret is one of my favorites, and it's so fascinating. You will definitely get plenty of inspiration, so click right over here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy, thoughtful sewing. I'll see you soon. Bye!